The Rising of the Shield Hero is about the protagonist who lives in our boring world where he is a social outcast. But then he is summoned to this other cool fantasy world where he acquires one busty and one petite slave who becomes his nakamas. Wait, oh shit, sorry, that's the synopsis of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. You ever had fantasies about a committed, loyal, hardcore, try-hard gamer girlfriend who carries you while you support her? Or maybe you'd like a girl to be your slave. Ever secretly thought about prepubescent girls or fucking a Pokemon? Or maybe you're a simpler man who likes tsundere girls of higher class than you? In Rising of the Shield Hero, there's something for everyone. It's yet another isekai about a young man who ends up in the fantasy world where he's a hero. Except in this case, he's not a hero, he becomes villainized by the evil normies who frame him for rape and hate him because of their religion. He then sets out on a comfy journey with his cockslave loli incest nakamas to prove himself by actions because words doesn't seem to work on anyone. These waves of evil he has to fight with the other three heroes come out from time to time, but really, most of the show is about his travels and trading of goods and getting misunderstood and framed when the waves aren't present. And I can't judge people for seeing the appeal in this. It's a different isekai, where he's the underdog, the anti-hero who shits on the normies badassly. But I'm sorry. This is only a red herring to take your attention away from the fact that this is hot trash. If you for just a moment put away the fact that he's not a typical hero, it's no different from, let's say for example, How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. An isekai about an OP character that gets a bunch of underage looking girls who worship him with a variety of traits and shapes, so there's something for everyone. And there's nothing wrong with having this as your guilty pleasure. But that doesn't mean it's good, okay? The first few episodes or so were pretty kino, I will admit. And I was able to forgive the fact that they just had to sneak in the isekai tag. The characters behaving a bit forced and poorly written could be because it would have significance later and make sense, so I decided to look past it. But after around episode 5, it just slowly grew on me, episode by episode, that I was getting baited. You see, I'm kind of a young male incel shut-in, born in a femoid's body, and I found it cool that this anime dared to portray false rape accusations and blind white knight behavior. But come on. Even the most unreasonable, brainwashed white knights would not act like the spear hero. Even they will eventually see that their queen is just using them while manipulating innocent men around her. Also, Shield Bro's roster is full of cute lollies. There is not a single badass male character in the entire anime except Naofumi. The country is a matriarchy, for God's sake. The main romantic interest is a Mary Sue deluxe. And every character behaves in very unnatural, scripted, forced ways. I fucking hate normies. But still, this portrayal of them is ridiculous. There's no way this many people would behave this way to this extent, considering how many of the other standards they have. And one of the things that triggers me the absolute most is when characters behave in an unbelievable way, not something somebody would do, just for the sake of pushing the plot forward. You can get away with a few characters doing it, but at a certain point it just becomes ridiculous, cringy, and annoying. When, spoiler alert, we were met with the heroes from the other world, I felt physical, actual pain inside, and my throat was sore from yiking because of how unbelievably the characters were behaving. It's actually laughable. It's like the kind of character writing I would make up on the fly when I was an edgy tween making OCs in my notebook. Cold Steel the Hedgehog is a deeper, more consistent character than most of the Rising of the Shield Hero cast. The characters just don't behave like people. They behave the way a socially retarded recluse assumes that normies do. They underestimate the average person's ability to think, and I think this might be a projection from deep down within of the way the average lonely school shooter thinks. It's to feed the stupid target audience, because they are so far gone and incapable of empathy that they are in fact the type of people who would behave as unreasonably as everyone who first encounters Naofumi. The people who think the Rising of the Shield Hero is good are role-playing in their brain like as if they're Naofumi, but in reality, they are the stupid NPCs. The show is an insult to every single person on this planet. It tries to make you think, heh, fuck everyone. But everyone includes yourself. Even stereotypical normies and NPCs are better than this. A good example of this is when Risha or whatever, the green-haired girl, spoiler alert, saves everyone in episode 25 and is punished by her group for it. A lonely person would get hostile. A good person would thank her for saving people. The bad behavior of the normies is actually the behavior of people who relate to this show. Only they would react this way, with bitterness and jealousy. The bad characters are a reflection of the target audience, because they don't realize it, but the toxin and filth they see in these characters is actually the viewer's own darkness. Of course, this only applies to the people who don't think Shield Hero is crap though. If you admit it's shit, then congrats, this does not apply to you. Past episode 5, the show has become unwatchable. Every fight is just Naofumi standing still thinking to himself, Raphtalia saying, "Naofumi!" and some other character watching from the side describing everyone's moves and attacks and spells in awe. I mean, whenever somebody moves an inch, because the fights are incredibly static. The fighting scenes are like in Elementary, when you would pretend to be a Dragon Ball Z character and describe what you did as you did it, but then start fighting with words rather than actual powers or fists because you started to argue about how the rules work. Oh, and why the heck do they need to spend multiple sentences just to invoke a little piece of dogshit spell? Another thing that jiggles my balls is the fact that past episode 5, everything that happens is just rinse and repeat over and over. They meet someone new, they don't like each other, betrayal. Oh, but Naofumi proved himself, they're besties now. The bad guys got as deserved. It gets old and predictable, and quite simply tiring. In case you're not convinced, let's take a quick look at episode 1 and point out where the writing is awful, lazy, and like as if it's done by an edgy child. First of all, why is it even an isekai? What does it accomplish other than appealing to losers? Bear in mind that I myself am a pathetic loser NEET. But come on, even losers have standards. In fact, NEETs should have the highest standards of all, as we are the kind of people who are able to consume the most entertainment during a day, since we don't have waging to do. Anyways, later in episode 1, when the 3 other heroes demand stuff, they say "we," like they're talking for everyone. Nobody talks this way in real life. Seriously watch it and try to think of a conversation where that has ever happened. They just met. This is perhaps the most transparently atrocious and slothful writing I've ever seen go unpunished. Oh, and yeah, I've tried so hard to at least love Naofumi and think that, hey, at least the protagonist is cool, right? Well, no, because while talking to the king, and then later when party members don't join him, he talks way too much and aggressively compared to how embarrassed he would be. Nobody would behave this way in this situation. They would meekly and a bit confused feel very insecure and want to go hide and cry. Especially someone who has up until this point been portrayed as insecure as fuck. And Jesus Christ, someone must have seen her pull that face behind Spear Hero after the rape accusation. Are you kidding me? But the most obvious flaw of episode 1, which is a red flag I unfortunately missed on my first watching, is when Naofumi wants to go home. Why wouldn't they support that? Why are they making an enemy of someone they don't even want killed? Then they want him to fight the wave? But then later they try to kill him anyway? Like, bitch, what the hell? Make up your fucking mind. Either treat him well so he will help you against the waves, or kill him early on after framing him so nobody will question it. They did neither. They did the shittiest combination of actions, and I just do not fucking believe it for a second. Oh, and I can't believe they had the audacity to use the Paprika song in the last episode. Okay, honestly, I'm going to have to end it here because I need to get a life and stop getting angry at Chinese cartoons. Thanks for watching.